Dear friends, today we have a significant development on our radar that could have far-reaching implications for the global economy. US President Donald Trump has announced the imposition of new tariffs on imported goods, aiming to make America great again. This move has sparked widespread discussion among economists and policymakers worldwide, including Russian experts who are analyzing the potential consequences of this trade war on global stability and the US economy itself. The United States has been grappling with a substantial trade and payment deficit. Last year, the country imported goods worth approximately $3.3 trillion, while customs duties amounted to only about $80 billion. This relatively small figure is due to an average tariff rate of around 2.5%. In contrast, other countries have imposed tariffs on American goods at rates ranging from 10% to 15%. In Washington, this disparity is seen as unfavorable. By implementing new tariffs, the US government anticipates additional revenues of $600 to $700 billion. If we apply these new rates to last year's import volume, it's evident that had these tariffs been in place, the US could have collected around $1 trillion in customs duties. However, such high tariffs are likely to lead to a decrease in imports. Consequently, the expected additional tax revenues might be in the range of $500 to $600 billion. Essentially, President Trump aims to reduce the US budget deficit at the expense of the rest of the world. These newly introduced tariffs will inevitably impact prices for end consumers. Take, for example, Apple's products. The recently released iPhone is priced at approximately $600, whereas the previous model was about 40% cheaper. This price hike is partly because much of Apple's production is based in countries like Vietnam, India, and China. Anticipating higher tariffs, manufacturers in these countries have preemptively factored in these costs, passing them on to consumers. What lies ahead? American consumers may begin to shift away from foreign products, opting instead for domestically produced goods where possible. In response, manufacturers might consider relocating production to countries facing minimal tariffs. Such transitions would take several years and require substantial investments. During this period, as consumers are compelled to reduce their spending, overall demand could experience a significant decline. An intriguing aspect that many overlook is the recent statements from the US Treasury and Commerce Secretaries. They acknowledge that while the tariffs will boost federal revenues, they will also burden consumers. To mitigate this, the additional income from the tariffs could be used to lower taxes for the populace, potentially offsetting the increased costs of goods. For Russia, the impact of these tariffs could be both positive and negative. Firstly, much depends on the current geopolitical landscape. Secondly, Russia's economy is highly sensitive to oil prices, which are currently on a downward trend due to fears of a global economic slowdown triggered by the tariffs. There's a growing concern that reduced demand for oil will result from production shifts and other factors. On one hand, if Russia manages to reach a peaceful agreement with Ukraine, a development President Trump strongly favors, it could become an attractive destination for manufacturing relocation, given that it hasn't been targeted by these tariffs. On the other hand, if negotiations prove challenging, the US might impose stricter secondary sanctions on countries purchasing Russian oil. This situation remains highly volatile, making precise forecasts difficult at this stage.